Because when you kill Jay, you just cut off more people coming through the same door that Jay made it through. Jay's studio wasn't in Hollywood. No, Jay's studio wasn't in the city. It was 5 minutes from where he grew up. I went inside the studio. Lydia was in there on the floor crying. Tony Rucon was on the couch shot. And Jay was on the floor all day. You're making my client the main suspect in this game. If he's the main suspect, he's not talking. Breaking news. 2 men found guilty of murder in the killing of Run-DMC's Jam Master Jay. Jurors found Carl Jordan Jr., Jay's godson, and Ronald Washington, Jay's childhood friend, guilty on all counts. DMC has opened up about the mystery behind Jam Master, Jay's murder, and he's putting the spotlight on a new suspect tied to the case. That's right. After all these years, and even after 2 men were convicted last year, the story still isn't over. Let that sink in for a second. Jam Master Jay, the legend, the DJ who powered Run-DMC, has been gone since 2002. His murder was one of hip-hop's darkest moments, and for over 2 decades, it stayed cold. No charges, no closure. And Jay's fans and loved ones thought we'd never see justice. But then 2020 brought arrests, and 2024 brought convictions. We thought maybe finally the book was closed. But now a new name has entered the conversation. And when DMC himself is the one saying it out loud, that's personal. So, let's talk about who Jam Master Jay was and why his story matters. I'll walk you through the wild timeline of this case. The cold leads, shocking arrests, and now this new suspect revelation and the big question we need to ask. Is this the missing piece of the puzzle? Or are we still only scratching the surface of what really went down that night in Queens? Let's get into it. No crime happens without some form of witness. Nobody wants to see running DMC without Jay. There was a perception at the time, and even now, that the NYPD didn't care about Jam Master Jay's murder because he was a black rapper. Before we get into suspects in courtrooms, let's rewind. Because to understand why this case hit so hard, you have to understand who Jam Master Jay really was. Jason William Mizell, better known as Jam Master Jay, wasn't just a DJ. He was the DJ. Born in Brooklyn, raised in Hollis, Queens, he picked up turntables as a teenager and never put him down. This hip-hop thing, man, this DJ thing, man, is bigger than hip-hop, man. I love hip-hop, though. I come from the school of hip-hop. If you love hip-hop, let me hear you say, hell yeah. Say, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Mess. Come on. What's my name? Jam. That's how we going to do. Come on. Come on. Come on. What's my name? Mess. Push my knee. Music. June Run. And by the time Jay linked with Joseph Run Simmons and Daryl DMC McDaniels, hip-hop was still bubbling underground. But then Run-DMC stepped onto the scene and blew the roof off. Suit and scrambling boots and cloths as a part of a reggae roof. We got denim jeans. You got to keep them clean. Your gear can't be dirty. Do you know what I mean? You got to adjust your best, because that's fresh. Is the closet full of clothing? I'm going to say yes. These guys were the first rap group to go platinum. The first to get heavy rotation on MTV. The first to land a sneaker endorsement with Adidas. Before every rapper had a shoe deal or some deal, Run-DMC made it a thing. Their style, fedoras, leather jackets, no laces in the shell toes, it became the uniform of a generation. And it was Jam Master Jay who brought the image to the music. I think what Russell felt about me that made them, accept me was my dress code. I was the one with the velour, with the shell to Adidas, with no show strings in them, with the leather suit. The whole way that we used to dress was because of the way I dressed. You know what I mean? So the image came from Jam Master Jay. You know what I mean? The image was like we were imageless. We just had the music. I brought the image to the music. Jay was the heartbeat of the group, the magician behind the decks, the guy who turned scratching and mixing into an art form. So when Run-DMC were out front trading rhymes, Jay was dead center, cool as hell, making the whole machine run. He gave the group its swag. And according to DMC, Jay was a pioneer, and without him, the group would have never made it big. There would be no hip-hop if it wasn't for the DJ. Jay was the first DJ who showed that DJs could play concerts like a rock star. If we didn't have Jay laying the music, doing the scratching, arranging everything, there would be no Run-DMC. The foundation of Run-DMC is Jay. Music. But Jay wasn't just about fame. Back home in Hollis, he stayed grounded. He opened up his own studio on Merrick Boulevard, giving local kids a place to record and learn. He mentored up-and-coming artists, and people like 50 Cent passed through his circle early on. No doubt I already put it down. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, this right here is my dog right here, 50. This the new era right here. Check my man out. 50-esh and the worst thing that could happen. Jay really made sure the culture kept moving forward. And that's what makes his death so heartbreaking. He wasn't some distant celebrity. He was a community guy building bridges, feeding the next wave. And to have his life taken at that same studio he built, that's not just tragic, that's betrayal. So here's what happened on that evening of October 30th, 2002. Jay was in his studio on Merrick Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens, the place he built to lift up his community when everything went wrong. Around 9 p.m., stormed in and started firing shots. Jay was hit point blank and died instantly, while another man in the room, Udia Lincoln, survived. And just like that, one of hip-hop's most beloved figures was taken in cold blood right in his own neighborhood. Well, tonight, according to sources. Close to this investigation, a 37-year-old Jason Missel, Jam Master Jay, was working in a recording studio here in Jamaica. He and a 25-year-old male Hispanic were relaxing in a lounge near the studio when a man walked into the studio, gunned fire. Missel was struck once in the head and killed instantly. The other man, was seriously injured, shot once in the chest. Police have no one yet in custody. And what makes this case so chilling is that it wasn't some random street shooting. This was Jay's sanctuary, his studio, a place of music, mentorship, and creativity. People were around, and several witnesses saw pieces of the attack, and yet somehow they disappeared into the night in dust, including the Liar Cohen, the CEO of Island Def Jam Records. Gathered outside, stunned that it happened to the man who was such a huge part of hip-hop's rise in worldwide popularity, and shocked too that it all went down in such a brazen manner. The gunman walking in, firing, and then just casually walking out. Police believe they have good leads in this case, and that witnesses got a good look at the shooter here. There's also security camera tape. We are told Missel was at the studio producing an album by 2 young women. They were in the studio when they heard gunshots. They came running, of course, but it was too late. Again, sources confirming Jam. Master J. Jason Missel from the rap group Run-DMC was gunned down here about 9:15 tonight. Another man was injured. Nobody yet in custody. The impact of this tragedy on hip-hop was instant. Run-DMC slowed down. The culture mourned, and fans and friends alike were left trying to make sense of the new reality. Jam Master Jay, the guy who gave so much to his community, was gone. And for the next 2 decades, the story stayed cold. There were rumors, theories, dead-end leads, and heartbreak. Witnesses gave hints here and there, details trickled out, but nothing concrete ever stuck. And for years, fans and family began to fear that Jay's murder would join the long list of hip-hop tragedies that never got justice. But after 20 years of silence, of waiting, of unanswered questions, in 2020, the case finally cracked open, and the police made their first arrests. 2 men were arrested in connection with Jam Master Jay's murder: Carl Jordan Jr., Jay's own godson, and Ronald Washington, his childhood friend. The news shocked fans everywhere. People had assumed Jay's murder might never see justice, but suddenly the story was moving forward, and the police bragged about solving the case. New York City detectives showing that they're the greatest detectives in the world. An incident that happened in 2002 being solved 18 years later. The relentless pursuit to bring this case to justice is absolutely incredible. And it's due to the partnerships that we have with Eastern District prosecutors. I want to thank you for your work. Our relationships with ATF, thank you very much, was able to bring justice to a case that seemed to be going in the wrong direction, but we were able to get indictments on. Now, these arrests didn't happen out of nowhere. Authorities pieced together years of tips, witness statements, and evidence that finally pointed to Jordan in Washington. And according to investigators, the alleged motive was a botched deal. Fast forward to February 2024, and both men were found guilty of, but prosecutors declined to seek the death penalty. Now, eyewitness testimony played a major role alongside the investigation that connected them to that night in the studio. One eyewitness, a convicted dealer, Ralph Mulgrave, testified that Jam Master Jay got involved in illegal substance deals to pay his bills. Mulgrave said Jay would occasionally reach out to him to sell coke, maybe 1 or 2 kilos here or there. But Mulgrave said that Jay wasn't a drug dealer. He just used it to make ends meet. Now, these verdicts brought a sense of closure, at least legally. Fans and the hip-hop community were relieved. But the case didn't feel fully done, because here's where it gets complicated. In May 2023, another name surfaced: Jay Bryant. Bryant was charged separately and is set for trial in 2026. The prosecutors claimed Bryant was seen going into the studio building that night and his DNA was recovered at the scene. Now, unlike Jordan in Washington, Bryant wasn't part of the initial indictment, which made his involvement feel like a new chapter. And this is where DMC's recent revelation comes in for him. Bryant's involvement isn't just court paperwork, it's personal. Someone new connected to Jay's death. Someone who might have been lurking in the shadows all along. And this is why DMC said his anger wasn't directed at just these individuals who shot Jay, but at the whole mindset behind it that led to Jay getting killed by someone from his own community. Somewhere out there in the early social media when Jay got shot and killed, everybody was disgusted. I was disgusted. Everybody was hurt. I was hurt. But then I put up, this is funny because I don't have like 50 million followers like Will Smith and The Rock. You know what I'm saying? Rightfully so. These guys a Hollywood witness and everything, right? Right? But, you know, I put I'm not mad at the guy that shot Jason. Oh, I should have never did that. Pasco. Oh my God, they cursed me, I was about to say. So then I had to fight. Yeah, I had to hold on. Let me clarify what I'm saying. I'm not mad at the individual. He's not my fight. And everybody said, oh yeah, we get you. I said, my fight and my anger is at the mindset that would cause the individual to do that, right? Oh yeah. Okay. Now, what you doing? Because when you killed Jay, you just cut off more people coming through the same door that Jay made it through. Jay's studio wasn't in Hollywood. No, Jay's studio wasn't in the city. It was 5 minutes from where he grew up. That's crazy. To deliver the very thing Jay escaped from. He went back to Fort again is the very thing, not the person. Yeah, the mindset that killed him. Now, a lot of fans were angry at DMC for saying this, but when you stop and think, he actually makes a lot of sense. The same thing happened with Nipsey Hussle. He was building positive things within his community, but the mindset of jealousy and envy is what led to his death. 50 Cent also talked about this and said that Jay's decision to stay around his old crew was a fatal mistake. By staying in Queens, Jay never separated himself from the negative elements close to hip-hop, especially in our neighborhood. In Queens, the drug dealers were the first people to have real money. Hip-hop was a hobby, just something to do with your homies on the stoop or in the park. The cash was in selling drugs. Jay's generation was inspired by what the drug dealers had. Nice clothes, fly cars, and beautiful women on their arms. The peak coats and Godfather has that Jay helped make famous with Run-DMC. That's what he saw, the dealers wearing. Same with the gold chain, Fun-DMC and later LL Guj helped popularize. They represented drug dealer fashion before they became hip-hop. Today, the opposite is true. Rappers can make way more money than drug dealers, thanks. In no small part to the path of early pioneers like J Master Jay helped blaze. Jay's mistake was he didn't keep moving forward. If he followed Run, Russell, and DMC to Jersey, Long Island, or Manhattan, I have no doubt he'd still be alive today. Instead, he stayed too close to the wrong kind of people. People who not only didn't have his best interest at heart, but were actually jealous of his famous success. But even after 2 convictions, the story isn't finished. Jay Bryant's case adds a new layer and a set of new questions. So, why does Bryant matter? Well, he's now facing his own trial next year, and we'll have to wait and see what he has to say. But his connection opens up new questions. Were there others involved? Could more people connected to Jay's conflicts over the years be part of this story? And if he really helped Theirs gain access to the building like the prosecutors claimed, that changes how we view the setup, the planning, and maybe even who else could have been involved. And for fans, that's part of why it feels so current. The case isn't just historical, it's still evolving. And also, this isn't just about crime. This is about betrayal. Jay wasn't by strangers in some random act of violence. He was by people close to him. His godson, his childhood friend, maybe even more. That's why DMC's words hit so heavy. He's not just naming a suspect. He's showing us how deep the betrayal went. how the trust Jay had in his circle was weaponized against him. And what makes this even more tragic is that the same thing is still happening today. We're still losing talented artists and community leaders because of that same mindset of jealousy that DMC talked about. Well, let me know your thoughts on this case. Do you think Jay Bryant is the final missing piece in Jam Master Jay's case? Or are there still more names that haven't come out yet? And do you agree with DMC that the main issue is not just the killers, but the mindset that drove them to take Jay's life? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't miss this next story.